computer. Here we go. So the art of showing homes. Now, a lot of times when especially when we start out in real estate, showing homes might be the most nerve-wracking thing that anybody could do. I remember my very first showings, and I felt so awkward. If you really don't know what you're doing, you really don't know what to do with your hands, what to say. It's a nerve-wracking feeling. But the more you do it, just like anything, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get and the more confident you become. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. The very first thing with the showing starts before you even get out to the showings. So, you need to understand your client's needs. So, that you here with the Montucci Group, we're always going to have a Zoom call. We're always going to have, you're at least going to have a phone call with the client before you meet up with them. So, in that call is where you really need to start understanding their needs. So, before any showings that you have, it's important to understand your client's needs at the deepest levels. If they are unrealistic needs that they're looking for, if it's like an unrealistic house, like if they're saying, hey, I want a $250,000 home with 3,000 square feet, you let them finish their conversation and then you bring them back to reality. You bring that, hey, I completely understand that's a beautiful home that you're describing to me. But right now, based off, my experience, this is what the market's actually offering for us right now. If you're looking in the 250 range, let me show you what's available in the 250 range. So you need to make sure that their goals and the home that they want is somewhat realistic and make sure to have very close compromises to their overall goals. So if they are kind of out of reach for what they're looking for, like, hey, I want a pool home, 3,000 square feet, new construction for 250K. Okay, we have to have a big conversation before we get out there. Because if you go out and just show them homes and say, yeah, no problem, we'll take a look at everything. And then you get out to Ocala with the setting the wrong expectations, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your client's time, and nothing's going to get done. Especially since you already verbalized to them, hey, no problem, I'll show you whatever. You want to be very clear with them from the get-go, be very precise with what you're telling them as well. Just a few details. You want to know their time frame, the house specs, lot size, location, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that you learned from the buyer consultation, which is what we went over last week. You want to make sure you have it ingrained in your mind for when you get out there with them, you know exactly what they're looking for. The preparation, know the homes. So the properties that you're going to be showing them, make sure they're somewhat aligned with their needs. Make sure that you know the property. You maybe know the builder. Speak to the listing agents before you get out there, but know the property. Hey, this property is going to become, before you even walk into the home, you're like, okay, hey, by the way, so this is one thing I really love about this property is that you're not gonna have any carpet throughout the house. And also you're gonna have a really big back lanai, which is very uncommon in this price range. So whenever I get into a house, I give them a little a little something to be like, hey, tell them why this house has value. Okay. So know the homes you're looking at. If you don't know the house, you can't really express the value that the home is going to provide. Second thing, have back pocket properties. I copied D.R. Horton's wording that they're always like, yo, I have a little bit of back pocket money. I have 2-3 grand in back pocket money. We always want to have back pocket properties. And oftentimes, in case whatever you're showing them, in case whatever they picked out to see doesn't fit their needs, you always want to have 2 to 3 backup properties that you can show them that might be a pleasant surprise. And believe it or not, this is typically the house they end up buying. These back pocket properties are typically the ones that they move forward on because they don't have any set expectations on them. They see it, they like the lot, they like the house. There's no expectations that they put in their mind on the property because if you're looking at a house, 300K, 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,500 square feet, let's just say it's a Bacan home, something in Ocala, and they look at the pictures, it's like the most beautiful pictures. The lot is like serene, it's just luscious green. And then they get out to the property and then like half the lot doesn't even have grass on it. The property is still unfinished. There's like a lot of dirt in there. They had that expectation that got crushed as soon as they walked into the property. And it happens all the time. So whenever they don't have expectations, they're like, okay, let's go take a look at what Renzo has. Let's go take a look at what Wilfredo has. Let's go take a look, what this agent has for us. And they see this beautiful property that you're walking through with no expectations, beautiful lot. They're typically going to have a little bit more emotion towards that property. Like, oh, hold on here. This could be something serious. The next thing, once your client has selected properties, or if you've already selected it for your clients, make sure to get in contact with Mary so she can help you set up the itinerary, and she'll release that to you and the clients. She'll send you a separate document with the lockbox codes and the access information. Okay. So once you have the properties, the homes, you have back pocket properties, make sure you get in contact with Mary for her to help you out. Mary's not going to know you're going to have showings. Maybe you need to reach out to her to get the showings done. Okay. That's on you guys as the agent. Okay. So let's say you guys get out there to the showings. You're at the very first house. You got to set the right impression. So experts say you will be sized up in the first 30 seconds of meeting someone, whether consciously or subconsciously. So somebody's already going to take a really good glance at you, the way you shake their hand, the tone of voice you use when you say, hello, how are you today? The eye contact that you make, what you're wearing. They're going to judge you in those first 30 seconds, whether you like it or not. They're going to judge you, especially if they're about to drop $300,000 on a house. They want to make sure they're in the right hands. Okay. If you're on this team, we're going to make damn sure that we are the best prepared agents. One thing we really need to pride ourselves on is that if we don't know something, we're going to figure it out. But we're always going to get the best deal for our clients, and we're going to make shit happen for them. Okay? So professionalism and first impression. We are all professional. We're the most professional attire that you have. No untucked shirts ever. Ever. Don't ever wear an untucked shirt to a showing. It looks like you're kind of just going to a baseball game, or you're kind of just doing this. At the very minimum, wear some dress pants. Never wear shorts. I don't think I have to tell you guys, but never wear shorts. No untucked shirts. You always want to have dress pants, some nice dress shoes, or kind of some I don't even know how to call them, just kind of like some nice sneakers and a tucked in shirt. Polo is preferred, with a nice blazer, a nice jacket, whatever it is. It does get hot in the summer, so I usually just wear a polo or a shirt like this, kind of just really nice and sleek, just kind of more relaxed fit when it's a hot day. But the most professional attire that you have is never going to hurt, and it's necessary. The second thing is a firm and confident handshake. Your your first contact with them, when you first shake their hand, you need to be high energy. You need to be very enthusiastic. Like, hey, super nice to meet you. Super nice to meet you, Marie. I'm so excited to be here with you today. How are you doing today? How was your drive? Start off with high energy. Start off with a lot of confidence. Just get that first introduction underway. And I promise you, it's going to build a good foundation of where you can keep your energy, and also their expectations. Okay, this man's on top of it. He's sharp. He speaks with confidence. He talks with confidence. He's gonna get things done for me today. Okay. The more prepared you are, the more confident you're gonna be throughout these showings. So if you walk out, and this goes back to the preparation, if you go to those showings and you don't know which properties you're looking at, you didn't really prepare, they're going to be able to tell if you didn't prepare. They're going to know that unconsciously, you're going to show it to them. Okay. So make sure you're prepared. The third thing here with professionalism and first impressions, make sure you show up to the first property early. Now, you're going to be going around looking at homes with them throughout the whole process, but make sure that first property that you show up to, you're there before them, the lights are on, the house is ready to go, the door's open, you're ready to greet them and take a look at that first property. Something super important, put the worst properties first. Put the worst properties first. So they're like, damn, this is ugly. Like, damn, this is not what I wanted to see today. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, why not? I start asking that it's the best when you start with the worst because one, they're gonna be like, okay, this is not really what I want to see, but that's a best opportunity to ask them why. What don't you like about this home? And that's where you can start getting the information of what their needs really look like. Hey, I hate the flooring. I hate that there's no lanai. Whatever it is, you want to ingest all that information. Property representation, property presentation. So whenever you're in a home, and most of you have been to showings with me before, you've seen kind of like the fluidity in the way I show homes and the way I kind of give a lot of freedom to the clients, but also when I make a point, it's something that they're really going to listen to. I'm not constantly blabbering to them. I give them space, and then when I do make a point, it's something that really makes sense to them and something they're going to take into deep consideration. So, one thing is you always want to ask feedback from every house. What are the pros and cons here? And always remember and keep in mind what they say. It may be useful in the future. So if whatever they say, like, hey, even if they're whispering to their husband or wife, hey, I think there a lady that I was with on Friday, she was like, hey, I don't like that there was no laundry room, you know. So we knew the next properties we're looking at, we needed a laundry room. It wasn't a deal. I always want to say, hey, okay, got you, got you. Is that a deal breaker for you? Is that something like, hey, that's an absolute must? Because sometimes those are small things like people don't even know to ask for when doing a buyer consultation if there's a laundry room. So you want to ask questions, see what their feedback is on each house, find out what they don't like and what they do like. So in the next homes, you're going to be able to maybe present them with something a little bit better. So always speak in a confident tone. You always want to give that frame that, hey, I'm the professional here. Hey, I know I'm the person who's going to be showing you houses. You're not showing me around. I'm here to be your professional, your representative. This is what I got. This is what we're going to show you. So always speak in a confident tone. It's going to give them a lot more comfort as well whenever they feel you're really here for them and representing them well. So it's going to give them a sense of comfort. If you don't know something, just say, hey, that's a great question. I don't know the exact answer right now, but let me reach out to my team and I'll let you know as ASAP. Okay. Don't ever feel threatened, scared, show any negative emotion or like scarcity mindset, whatever it is. If they ask you something that you don't know, it's okay. It's totally okay. Hey, that's a fantastic question. I honestly don't know the answer to that, but I'm gonna call my team and we're gonna find out right away. Okay. I use it when I first started in Ocala. I used this probably like 5, 6 times a showing. Like, that's a great question. I don't know, but let me find out. I'll get back to you. Damn, that's another great question. I really don't know. Let me find out. I'll get back to you. What are they going to say? Now, if you say it, you better damn find out the answer and learn from it. Because if not, you're just lying to them. So that's also an opportunity to learn. Whenever you do have that C personality buyer, those are really that's where you learn the most, because they're gonna ask a lot of questions. So if you don't know something, make sure you present it to them in a confident way that you don't know, and then find out the answer and let them know. After each home, I tend to ask to give them a score of 1 to 10. This will make it easy for you to keep track and also for them to also mentally see where they stand with the home. So especially, I typically only do this if I'm looking at more than 3 properties. Typically, because if you're looking at one community, you kind of already know, okay, I'm gonna buy something in this community. I kind of give it a rest. too many variables or options whenever you're looking in a community. So the first thing here is I would say, okay, so perfect. Real quick, before we leave the property, what would you give this a 1 out of 10? And you can kind of go from there. Like, okay, a 1 out of 10. Cool. Let's see what we got to do to get that number even higher. Ask questions like, can you see yourself living here? Can you picture your kids playing in the backyard? These are great questions that kind of mentally make them think, okay, can I see myself living here? They start picturing themselves living in the property already and kind of gives them a vision of, okay, let's see if we can make this happen. If they say no, great, no problem. Gives you a little bit more clarity that this isn't the right house for them. Let's find something else that fits your needs better. Okay. Uh, and always revert back to their needs on the home. If you can point things out that they were originally looking for, it will show your clients you are the right person for them. Okay. What I mean by this is when you do a buyer consultation, when you're doing the preparation of your clients, when you're understanding their needs, if you can walk up to a property and say, hey, by the way, I remember you were telling me that a gourmet kitchen is super important for you. I made sure to pick out a property with exactly that. So let's go take a look and see what you think. Or, hey, I know having no carpet in the property is something super important for you. That's why we're going to look at this one. This other property has a lot of different things that is going to fit your needs, but it does have carpet in the bedroom. So I just want to see if maybe you love the property enough, you can compromise, whatever it is. Always revert back to some things that they're really interested in. It's going to show that you care. It's going to show that you're listening. It's going to show that you understand what they need. Okay. Any questions so far? We rocking and rolling? Cool. Let's see. Active listening. So this goes back to a little bit of what I was saying in the past few slides is, whatever feedback they're giving throughout the property, the the way they walk into a room, the way they talk, whenever they're in the house, try and read them. Just try and read their body language, observe them, literally observe them. Like, okay, how is he talking? How is he start walking? How is the client observing the house in this situation? Listening isn't always just listening to what they're saying. It could be observing their body language. So listen to their body, listen to their voice. They sometimes they're not going to verbalize what they're thinking, but they'll show it in the way they're looking at the property. So just be attentive in the way they're looking at the property. If you see something a little off, if you pick up something that maybe they're doing different, be like, hey, hey, tell me, is that something that you like or whatever it is, whatever it's going on. Just be curious about it. Be curious about them in the house. Common buyer questions, just so you guys to be prepared for. And this is something you can get ready for in the preparation is, source of the water and sewer, especially if you're in Ocala. There, a lot of people don't know what well water is or what a septic tank is. So make sure you know the source of water and the sewer of the property, what the material of the home is made with. Right now, we only got two ways homes are being built in Florida, concrete block and stucco and wood frame. Okay. There are a lot of builders like LGI Homes who are starting to build with wood frame. Lennar Homes builds with wood frame. Uh, I tend to stay away from wood frame homes. Me personally, I don't think I would buy it here in Florida at least, because of the hurricanes, because of termites, because of the heat, the humidity. But if I was in like Texas where there's really no issues, I would buy it. But here in Florida, I tend to stick with concrete block and stucco. Maybe my mind will change, but for right now, that's kind of the practices I live by. But people will ask, hey, what's the difference? Hey, what's sturdier? What's safer? What's a better investment? What tends to last longer? These are questions people are going to ask. Irrigation system included. A lot of new construction builders, sometimes it comes with it, sometimes it doesn't. In Marion Oaks, I know there's a lot of Bahia grass, and they're like, hey, this stuff grows on its own really easily. So you don't need a irrigation system. So just want to confirm with them, hey, is there a irrigation system with the property? If you want to know really quickly, go into the garage, see if they have like an irrigation system or like the box, and it'll be able to tell you. It'll be in the garage or in the outside part of the garage. Does the home come with home warranty? Not every builder in Marion Oaks offers a 210 warranty. Not every builder offers a 210 warranty in Ocala. I've learned the hard way. I thought they all did. Not all of them do. In Marion Oaks, there are some builders that build a house for investors. Some investors don't offer 210 warranty. They offer a 1 year builder warranty. Okay. These are things to confirm with the listing agent. How close are shopping amenities? How close are we to the hospital? This goes back into preparation. Hey, I remember you said you want to be about 15, 20 minutes at the most from a hospital. Just want to show you this house that you like. It's only 10 minutes away. By the way, I know Publix, Walmart, and supermarkets are super important. You like to cook for your family. By the way, you're only 13 minutes away from Walmart. Okay. Appliances included. Typically in a new construction, if you're in a community, you can ask. Uh Wilfredo, just so you know, D.R. Horton Express. There are three series of D.R. Horton. One is Express. Express comes with everything, all appliances included. Um, preferred preferred series communities only have kitchen appliances, no fridge. So no fridge, no washer and dryer, and then premier communities, it's the same thing, no fridge, washer, or dryer. The only D.R. Horton communities are express communities or express homes like the Cali, the Aria, the Hayden, and they come with all the kitchen appliances and laundry appliances. Okay. Some builders in Marion Oaks, not all of them come with appliances. So you need to confirm those things. What is a well and septic tank? Great question. A lot of people are going to ask. And what's the difference? What's the risks? What costs less? What costs more? Well water and septic cost significantly less than having public water, public sewer. The thing is, well water is kind of stinky at first. So whenever there is someone who does have a well, I always recommend, you don't need it, but I say, hey, I kind of just recommend if you live in Florida to get a water softener. I'm working on getting a really good vendor for water softeners for us to refer to each one of our clients at the end of selling them a house. Closing cost incentives. They're gonna ask, yo, what kind of deal can we get on this property? Hey, that's a great question. It's going to take a little bit of work. I'm going to call the listing agent. I'm going to talk to the team and we're going to see what kind of deal we can get. But in this price range, I typically see us being able to get 3% closing costs. That's going to come with experience. So, Wilfredo, next time you go out there, I wouldn't tell them, hey, I can guarantee you all closing costs paid with interest rate buy downs and extra. Right now, Wilfredo, if you're going out there since you're new, you have a little less experience. I just say, hey, I'm gonna talk to my team and see what kind of deal we can wrap up for you guys. So if it's D.R. Horton, it's very clear. If you're with a builder, they tell you straight up. But even when they tell your clients, hey, that's what they're offering, but we always want to ask for more. See what else they can give us. See what else we can fight for. Okay. Um, any questions so far? Cool.
Renzo, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So you were talking about the
Hey, we can't hear you. Hey, Will. I don't think we can hear you. Can any of you hear Wilfredo? No. Okay, Wilfredo, if you can, drop your question in the chat and we'll go ahead and answer it. But for now, we're gonna move on. Neighborhood information, on those specific properties. You want to provide insights on the neighborhood, local amenities, schools, the safety, address any questions they have about the area. Super important. They want to know what they're moving into, what's nearby. So when you're preparing for the house, if you don't know the area that well just yet, make sure you're doing some research on the neighborhood area. Okay. And last but not least, the best part, the funnest part, and the most important part is negotiation and closing. One, you want to set the expectations on what it's going to look like for the client. And, let's say they find the house, you need to set those expectations. So, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to call the listing agent, we're going to see, how motivated the seller is right now and see what we can negotiate for them. After that, once you guys are under contract, just so you guys have a good idea of how things work, we have to put a deposit, and then it's important to get the lender doc info. If you want to do an inspection on the property, we could do it when the house is finished, or we could do the house when the house is finished, or if it's finished now, we can order an inspection right away. And then after you kind of break down like, hey, this is what it looks like to negotiate. This is what it looks like once you get under contract. This is what it looks like, once we are close to closing. They're already going to have a clear picture of, okay, this is how it's going to happen. This is it. This is the real deal right here. We're about to buy a house. Okay. Ask encouraging questions. Get them engaged. They're going to be curious. They're going to have questions. Ask them like, hey, do you have any questions so far? Is everything making sense? Make sure you kind of go to their level, because sometimes we talk as realtors and we're like, hey, I'm gonna get the far bar ready, and whatever it is. We talk as realtors sometimes thinking our clients are gonna know what we're saying, but we gotta come down to their level and speak to them like, hey, they don't know anything about real estate. Okay. I think Albert Einstein said this, like your true understanding of your knowledge on a topic um is best tested if you can explain it to a fifth grader or a 5-year-old. Okay. So if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're talking to, you're going to be able to break it down for the clients like a 5-year-old. Okay. And that's what you need to do. Third thing.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
something something about the closing cost. Sorry, Renzo.
No, no. Of course, brother.
Uh, Something about the closing cost that I like to do is, for example, bridge homes. I think they're
Right home.
of Bright
Yeah.
home and Maribel. They're offering $10,000 to closing costs. Something I like to do is tell to the client, oh, they offering 7,000, but let me work to see. I want to try to get something more for you. Even I know they're offering 10,000. I told them, I tell to them, they're offering 7,000. I tell them I'm gonna work to get something else for you, and then I like to do like they're willing to give you 3,000 more. Even when they're giving 10,000, I like to let them know that they're giving a little bit less, and then
Yeah.
make them feel that we get something else for them.
Es, eso es excelente. That is an amazing point, Roger. And with Bright Homes, you can utilize that a lot of times with D.R. Horton as well. Coming into the
Exactly.
Christmas months, a lot of these D.R. Horton homes are going to have something they call back pocket money. It's flex cash. It's extra cash they have. If the clients like can't buy it with what they're offering now, they have this extra money on the side. And Roger, I'll tell you a quick example. I did that last week with a client. Uh, D.R. Horton, they wanted to buy a house. They're buying it cash, and they wanted more closing costs, or they wanted off the price of the home. They had $7,000 in flex cash on top of, the $10,000 closing cost incentive. Actually, it was financed. Apologies. Anyways, I told them, hey, they're offering 10,000. Let me see if I can get you an extra $5,000 in closing costs. And then when I come back to them and say, hey, actually, I got an extra 7,000, they're like, holy shit, where do I sign? So,
Mm-hmm.
bro, it's great. Thank you for inputting that. Eso trabaja bien, muy bien con el clientes. So yeah, I want the next year Horton deal you do, I want to see if you can implement that if they're offering flex cash, or maybe you negotiate with them before you even come back to your buyer. So, hey, but that's a great point. That's a great
Yeah,
point.
bro.
When did you almost get a Bright Home under contract? Is that something that they were looking at?
No, I say Bridge Home is just for example, but even with DR Horton,
Okay,
with
okay.
DR, yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sounds good. We'll get to the next step. Thank you for sharing, Roger.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So first, expectations on the process, the offer, what it's going to look like, the transaction. Ask them if they have any questions. And then the third thing you want to do is give them a recommendation. Like, hey, if we put an offer, if we got you this house, at asking price with 3.5% in closing costs, that would be a freaking great deal. What do you say? What do you say we try and get that? Put an offer. Honestly, if I were you, I would be happy if I got 2.5 to 3%. But why don't we push for 3.5, maybe even 4? So give them a recommendation as a professional. Like, hey, in my opinion, seeing the property sell in this market, if you can get 4%, 3.5% in closing costs, you got a great deal. Do you want me to go ahead and give them a call, see what we could do? They're never going to say no. Who doesn't want a great deal? Sylvia, you're going to go buy a bag at Gucci next week. What if they told you, hey, Sylvia, by the way, there's a new thing that we can offer Gucci. Like, we can make offers with Gucci. What if I try to get you a good deal? Would you be interested?
Yes, I'll buy right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wear Gucci or not, but everybody wants a good deal. So recommend a good deal to them and then do the call to action. The fourth thing, negotiations. I don't know if you guys have seen my videos. JP's tired of me talking about I can negotiate the best deals. I have there's this one video of me I was doing in a DR Horton home and I'm like, hey, you know, hey, if the builder doesn't give you the fridge and washer and dryer, I'll negotiate it for you. And I've had like 3 clients like, hey, remember when you said, you'd negotiate the fridge, washer, dryer? So it happened with one client that I couldn't, like Deer Horn's like, yo, we're not giving you another washer and dryer, Renzo. We're done. We're not giving you another one right now. So, and they're like, and my clients are like, hey, you said you could do it in the video. So I'm like, so I'm over here like, damn, all right, I'll buy you a washer and dryer. But when it comes to negotiations, you have to be firm with what you're asking for. I always like to say, hey, my clients like this house, they're interested, but the finances need to make sense for them to make it happen. It needs to be a deal that makes sense for them to be able to move forward on this. If not, we might look in another direction. Never tell them like, hey, my client wants to buy this house, whatever it takes. Let's get it done. Can you see if you can get an extra 3,000? You lost all your power. You lost all your power. So you want to get in there like, hey, my clients like this property. It's interesting to them. But they need to kind of it needs to make sense for them financially and it needs to make sense for them financially. What we're looking to do is come up with an offer that makes sense for them. And this is it right here. Boom. Okay. No matter, even if the client will buy it without, a lot of times you're gonna have clients that just buy it with whatever they're offering. Go the extra mile. Do the extra, get them an extra better deal. They're going to refer you clients. They're going to appreciate you. They're going to love you. They're going to feel connected to you. Go the extra mile for the client, even if they're already happy with what they're getting. It'll mean just that much more. It'll increase their experience just that much. Okay. Number 5, get the deal closed. Be proactive. If someone says write an offer or hey, let's go, we expect each other to go all in. Like, hey, let's get aggressive. We're about to get a deal under contract. Let's put this shit into fifth gear. Okay. I want to see you on the phone with listing agents. Let me call the builder. Let me call the sales agent. Papa, let's get this done. Okay. There needs to be a different sense of urgency once you found the right property and you're negotiating that deal. You should have it under contract, everything written up within 12 to 24 hours. Okay. Don't get lazy whenever someone tells you that, do not get lazy. That is your opportunity to close the deal. Okay. There needs to be that switch of sense of urgency. That's all I got for you guys. Any questions? Any input?
No question, but I have something I wanted to add on that last slide about asking
Yes, sir.
Those questions that kind of bring them closer to interacting with you. One question that I've found recently gets a good response, builds good rapport, and most gets clients to really trust you. Is asking them sometimes this one question that I feel like is what a lot of them are scared to tell you or scared to kind of ask you. So I always like to, whenever I'm done explaining the whole process, I say, hey, so is everything clear? Yeah, everything makes sense. Yeah, it seems pretty good. I'm like, all right, cool. So what, if any, would you say is your biggest fear or your biggest concern moving forward in the process? A lot of times they won't want to say something because for the sake of not seeming quote unquote dumb or asking a dumb question. But I find that if you kind of open that door and just make anything open, like, hey, what is your biggest concern? They don't have to, raise their hand, so to speak, to tell you what it is. And a lot of times they'll tell you, and it usually is something like really simple, like, okay, like all right, so when we send this contract, do we have to send all the money right away? Like that's one of the biggest ones that I've gotten. It's like, hey, that's an awesome question. Wow, great. Well, hey, listen. So, and then you explain an earnest money deposit, depending on the builder, blah, 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 whatever house you're negotiating. But I found that that's one of the best ways I've been able to build trust quickly is by the first thing I do is address their concerns and then, answer it with enthusiasm.
That's awesome. Honestly, and I've never done that, JP. And can you tell us of an experience with a client that really kind of was like a game changer?
Yeah, it was the Rocha's kids that bought the house before the Roaches did.
Okay.
I think that's what won them over is that when this was just us walking through a house for their parents and talking. They're like, well, yeah, we want to move and this. And then I was explaining the process to everything. And when I let the family go check out their houses or like, they were walking through their house, I gave them that space and I was there with just Jonathan and Rhinel, the other kid. And I was like, hey, so let me ask you something. What is your biggest concern in buying a property right now? Or what's stopping you from doing so? And they're like, well, and then they opened up. They had quite a few concerns about their current property. Do I have to sell my property in Miami in order to be able to buy another one? How much money am I going to need? How much am I going to be able to purchase for? They were all really good questions, but it led them once those questions got answered, they immediately right after that day, they called and they're like, hey, let's get pre-approved. Let's get it done.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. And all of that leads to this one thing. A confused mind is always going to say no. If a client doesn't know what's going on, what to do, what they're buying, what's the process like, they're always going to say, give me some time to think about it. If they're confused, they're going to say no. Remember that. And JP, you asking that question immediately uncovers all their fears and uncertainty that they have, and boom, let's get over that, and then let's actually give you something to go home with, to you to think about. Sound like Andy Elliott there. but yeah, that's a great question, JP. I appreciate that's some good input. So how do I go back? There we go. But hey, well, sounds good. Anybody else have some input they want to?
Nothing else, but I do have to hop into my next meeting
Hey,
at 10. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
hey,
Take care.
JP, drive safe. But that is it for today's class. Where'd Wilfredo go? Oh, he's. Anyways, that is it for today's class. This was recorded, so you can go back to it and